I just spent 6 hours again listening to The Great Reset by Klaus Schwab. It was an audiobook yesterday. And it's terrifying. You really need to get hold of it and either read it or listen to it. Reading it, you want to poke your eyes out. Listening to it, you really just want to punch yourself in the ears. It's pretty bad. But it is a system that has been worked out that we are now living through. I used to think in America, and I've argued this point myself, that we need a constitution. Well, it's not really working in America at the moment because the constitution is being used against people. The constitution is written to limit the powers of government. In Britain, we don't have that. We have a government that enforces everything it wants to on the people. And it taxes us accordingly as well. It limits everything that we do. We don't have anything that limits what the government does other than our ability to re-elect them every 4 years. And in actual fact, you may end up just re-electing the very people who you wanted to get rid of because other people don't see it as such. So we really don't have any checks and balances on our own government. You could argue that we used to. We used to have decency, we used to have moral fibre, we used to have a legal system that, by all appearances, kind of looked like it was working, even though those of us that have come across it as victims realised it was working atrociously. And if you've ever suffered at the hands of something like the NHS, which nearly killed me twice, but on the positive side, I did get a neck operation out of it. Well, thank you very much. But then killing me afterwards, probably wasn't really very good. So, it swings and roundabouts, I suppose. But at the end of the day, what we are suffering now is manufactured. The WF said they were going to do it. Davos is just a hellhole on earth. Yeah, all of these other agencies all say they're going to do these things and they do them, seemingly unopposed. So the very people who try to oppose it, take somebody for example, I know it's a bit contentious, take somebody for example like Tommy Robinson. He wanted to stop the mass rape on an industrial scale of young girls. It sounds a very noble cause, doesn't it? He was called a loathsome creature in the Houses of Commons. I mean, it's full of loathsome creatures. That could get me done for hate speech. They don't because they have parliamentary privilege. They can say anything they damn well like. So why doesn't somebody come out in there, or several people in fact, and say, are we actually going to do anything about these mass rapes, these mass stabbings? No. But they've got the privilege, they can do it. But they don't. We are run by absolute tyrants. I still say we need a constitution. It needs to be written by us, not by the parliamentarians who we have at the moment, because you just know for a fact they'll just skew it all for their own benefit. As you could argue we would skew it for our benefit. Yet that's the whole point. We need to limit any government that doesn't hold criminals to account, and that includes themselves, and that doesn't enforce that and act accordingly and then change whatever they want for the better. And if you want a prime example of someone who is an absolute clown puppet put in place to do the very thing that you want them to do, which is disrupt the whole of society, look at David Lammy. You can't get anyone worse than that. Absolute waste of space. But he's not a waste of space if you have an agenda and you need to enforce it, which is what is happening. And it's happening everywhere. The left have really just accelerated it. The right could have done something about it. No, they didn't. You really need to be looking now. I used to say reform. I think you need to be looking at UKIP. Look at the leader. He's the only one saying anything remotely sensible. Never thought I'd be saying that.